by him, I could see that it's night and day. He told me the truth. Walking from here to my bedroom and feel like it's miles away. There's too many roads. And I'm still hard body. I don't feel nobody. And I'm wheels, I'm riding on my friendships. Solid, I get big deposits on my whips. Exotic. Revving the engine, city dependent. I gotta finish it, I want opinions, she wanted things, she want a ring or some sort of arrangement, something that's dangerous. I wanna change it, I wanna claim it, I want it painted, She quick to say no cause she know she a diamond, she getting quiet, she on the diet, she want a massage, I'm trying to get intimate, bank account never diminishing, niggas are changing their images, niggas act hard but they innocent, hop in the tank and move militant, yeah. Find me somewhere out in London, you know that's the hideaway. I need some head and some more support from you right away. Since I've been making donations to you like United Way, you know I do. Stories you told me about him, I could see that it's night and day. He told me the truth. Walking from here to my bedroom and feel like it's miles away. There's too many roads. And I'm still hard body, I don't feel nobody. And I'm wheels, I'm riding on my friendships. Solid, I get big deposits on my whips. Exotic, trunk on the engine, I'm on a mission. The Bronco 250, I'm out your division. I got them excited, know it's been a little minute. I left her delighted, made her love off a chrome horn. These suckers despite it, the touch is the Midas. She say fuck me and calm, I just do it like Lover but Nike. Ordered a ginger for you and your friends. Show for you running that big body Benz. Got a little bit that came up from nothing. We shopping in London, they doing it big. Name they private, but we out in public. I know we the topic for you and your kids. Life Monopoly gon' broke, not an option. If they could've stopped it, they would've been dead. They would've been dead. She could be the wig. Don't play with my head, you test my emotions. Don't be testing my phone every day, I'ma leave it on red. Don't digging and stroking. My new bitch pussy wet like an ocean, I need a new spread. The solid one chosen. I'm gon' wanna stay focused, I can't let them put me on edge.
Put me on edge. I just bust on my wrist and this rose go in and say, yeah. I just put pointers on feds. I just counted to me and all cash and got hit from the feds. Yeah. I just told them if he played, then we stop in the growth for they dreads. I just had to put the pyramid, push that I'm never gonna drive them to shit. Build a panoramic goals. We got foes and deuces toast on the big dog.
Today, we're going to talk about the loaded college basketball slate, NFL divisional round, look ahead lines, and we're going to cash another squad ride. This is Behind the Lines. Cooper Kupp might be washed. 4 targets, no catches. The guy ran a half a marathon. I've seen 20 tweets about it this morning. The guy didn't do a single thing.
Yeah, that was a frustrating bagel for a lot of fantasy owners.
Is this what we've become down in Blacksburg? Just complacent, happy to be going about our day and being a moose shit program, celebrating a kid getting 1 point against North Carolina A&T? He better fucking score a point. You're playing North Carolina A&T. He's leading college football, Jovan, in every single statistical category for a wide receiver. Every single one. And you don't give that guy the award? Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. At the end of the day, you got to reward teams for winning fucking games. And if they're in a power conference, they're in a power conference. I'm tired of this big dick swinging contest between the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, and ACC. At the end of the day, you got to fucking reward winning. What's going on, chat? Happy BTL Wednesday, episode 617 piece. As always, hold the fry. Joined by your 2 hosts, Krabs and Jovan, presented by Bookit Sports. If you're not tracking your bets on Bookit, what are you doing? Start tracking your bets today on the best bet tracking app out there by far, Bookit Sports. Go check it out on the App Store or Google Play. I promise you will keep using that puppy. Go check out Bookit Sports. All right? Jovan, we cashed a squad ride last night. Let's fucking go. Back on the saddle, back in the green. Love to see it.
Yeah, good play. That was air for a majority of the game.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, they try to blow it.
Yeah, I got close for a little bit. I was getting worried, but they pulled back away. Try your guy Saint.
Yeah, St. Thomas, what a day. We could take a peep at the Sharp Report recap as well and talk about some of those squares and some of those straight bets that we liked. 4-1 day for me yesterday. Jovan, you flipped that motherfucker. 1-4.
I did. Maybe that's what we needed. A little sacrifice to get the squad rides back. So I think
Whatever
3 times last week. 3 times last week, my only loss in the card was the squad ride. So if that's what we got to do to take it back, we'll do that.
Yep. I got a feeling you'll bounce back today with the straight bets. And JT Toppin. I need to see him in my office, man. Cost us some coins.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if that
Brutal.
was him. He just got hurt and didn't play the whole game, which, I mean, not only cooked that square, but also Texas Tech. That was their biggest advantage in the game. So if he's not playing, that kind of hurt.
Yep. Yabasile went green before he drove home from work. Big Cheesy said, yeah, that was a great square. Jeesh.
Oh.
Got taken off the board, I'm pretty sure, yesterday afternoon as well. And yeah, people are talking about Trent going on the Stephen A. Smith show later today. Yeah, do not miss that, chat. I think he's pushing back Surge today. It'll probably start a couple minutes late. He'll still do Surge today, but he's got to hop on the Stephen A. Smith show and talk some shit about Josh Allen not throwing those picks. So excited to watch that. Make sure you guys check that out. All right. Jovan, I got a feeling you're bouncing back on your plays today. You got some good options I'm looking at right now. We'll get to those in a minute here. Do we have a second for me to bitch about something?
We do.
Good. See, go ahead and run that puppy. Well, shit, chat. We got Matthew Saluka, who was the talk of the town last year in college football for about a week. This is the same kid who left UNLV after a couple good weeks of football because they didn't pay him, and he ended up walking away. The team, I mean, they did just fine without him, to be honest with you. But Matthew Saluka, he's no slouch, Jovan. That's a pretty darn good football player, pretty highly touted QB. And he's going to Harrisonburg, Virginia for this upcoming season down at JMU. And the Hokies can't even get a QB. And we've got Matthew Saluka going right next door to JMU, and they're getting better prospects than us, Jovan. What's up with this, man? I just don't get it. How do we let them do this right in our faces?
It's a cat meat program you got over there in Blacksburg, Krabs.
I just don't get it. Like, how are they able to pay him more than we can? If he can go to JMU, why can't he go to VT? Wouldn't you think in a normal world,
Back though,
you'd rather go to VT than JMU? I don't get it.
Oh,
it's crazy. I guess not. If you look at the football program,
because they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, they don't have a QB. I guess we got a shitty one, Kyron Drones.
I know. It's just like, why? If you're a quarterback transferring, you know Drones is coming back. Why would you go there?
Because it's Virginia Tech and not JMU.
Yeah, but he's not. He wouldn't be playing.
Wow,
defeats the purpose.
Unbelievable. I think it is.
Has Virginia Tech won a national championship, Krabs?
No, they never have.
Well, that could be a big reason.
That could be a reason. That could be a reason. We are one of two main schools, us and Kansas State, who have not won a natty yet. Unbelievable. You cannot tell me differently. It's ridiculous that we got better QBs, better options going to JMU. We got kids transferring from Alabama going to UVA right down the street as well, and we can't even get a serviceable team. We're celebrating going 6-6, and we got better QBs, better options going down to JMU. Unbelievable. I would take Matthew Saluka down in Blacksburg. He'd be much better than what we got. This sucks. Oh,
yeah.
The damn portal, man. Gosh. Yeah, Goots kicking a man while he's down. He loves it. Yep, Flatwoods fella, he's good at it. I'll give him that. All right. My uncle coached him in lacrosse in Long Island. Said him and his dad are tools. He's wearing a cape right now. Look at the camera. He looks like a tool a little bit. And I'll go ahead and lean into that narrative now that he's JMU Duke. Okay. All right, let's move on to some plays for today. Let's talk about some winners for today. Let's go ahead and pull up the Sharp Report and talk about our favorite straight bets. We'll get right into it for today. So that way we can spend some time talking about some of these NFL lines and maybe crafting up another PrizePicks lineup like the one that cashed yesterday.
There's no way
stream that we crafted up.
Trent is begging for plays in chat for the Stephen A. Smith show.
Where is he? There he is. Fellas, I got to dish out some NFL playoff plays for the weekend on the Stephen A. Smith show, and I've got nothing. It's like the kid in your group project in college who just sat there and didn't do shit. Still got the same grade, right? We got Waka coming in, getting a resub as well. Let's fucking go, dude. Begging. He goes, legit, man. Yep.
Well, I'll tell you who's hitting the card pretty heavy this week. unfortunately for you, Krabs,
Okay.
you're putting on the gold jacket. So get involved.
A little Laporta action.
Yeah.
I bet. It's a pretty easy narrative against the Commies defense.
What
huh?
narrative, Krabs? It's just gold
Pretty
jacket
easy.
Laporta.
Trent, we'll take a peep at it real quick. Let's see if we can find some squares for you. Looking at the Commies. I mean, Gates, we got to help him out, dude. He needs some fucking squares. He needs some ammo. We're definitely not taking De'Ami Brown after his breakout game. That I don't know.
I mean,
It's probably
he was
Zacchaeus, to be honest with
mega,
you.
dude. He was mega. I mean, we got Lamar versus Lamar in Buffalo with freezing temperatures. I do not see either of those guys doing anything different than they did last week. So I would get the legs up and moving.
Lamar been thrown in the cold and the wind all week in practice.
I mean, Trent, go look at those Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson pass and touchdown squares and tell me you don't want to take those less thans. You got you got Patrick Mahomes up for an interception. It's extremely Reds. Jovan, I'll tell you what, man, I got a weird feeling about that game. Maybe the Texans still went outright, but I think they keep that one close.
I can see it. The Chiefs always play with their food. I don't think they're going to go out and beat them by 50. It's just, I don't think they're going to lose. Not that I think anybody really does, other than maybe you, just a sliver.
I like that Patty Mahomes interception square, Trent.
Well, if you want something in that game and you think that game's really going to get weird, square that I was looking at is John Mechie, because they just, I don't know, they're going to be without Deontay now, another body there. They're going to be without Robert Woods there, another body. He got peppered with some pretty short targets in that game. They didn't go for many yards, but I think now, especially if you're in a trailing game script, he's probably got to be the guy.
Isn't he the guy who had the dropped fumble in the first play of the game for the Texans?
Yes.
I believe. Sure. Jalen Hurts and Matt Stafford passing yards, both pretty Reds. I like points in that game. Would not mind some more than passing yards from two of those gentlemen, Jalen Hurts or Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Try to see what else looks funny on the board. Nothing to write home about to me, my peepa.
Gold jacket yards, Trent.
Sam Laporta's. I like Jalen Hurts passing yards. As crazy as that is coming out of my mouth.
That is pretty
crazy. That
crazy.
chart's looking at me funny. And then, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, rush attempts. Looking like it's going to be a pretty big day on the ground for those two boys.
I mean, it's got to be. Just has to be.
One more peep at the receptions category. You could go up there and give him Cooper Kupp, and you look like a fucking G if it cashes, Trent, but that's probably not a good option. Saquon receptions. Terry receptions.
I just feel like you got to go on there. I mean, the whole reason you were on there in the first place, or the big thing when you were on there in the first place, was talking about Josh Allen. Just go there, stand on business. Josh Allen's going to beat Rashid Lamar. He's going to run for 1 million yards. He's going to put up a legacy performance. Stand on biz.
More than 46.5 rushing yards.
More than everything. But yes.
Okay.
Oh, and lose the game, surely.
All right, let's move. Let's groove. Let's get back to winners for today.
Yeah, let's do that.
Enough football talk. All right. Mahomes is starting to pick that, chat. Take notes. All right. Cincy -3.5 on the hardwood. Let's talk about Cincy a little bit here. I like this Cincy team a lot. Pretty high on them preseason. They've had some serious injuries, and they've overcome them pretty well. But they've dropped 4 games in a row now, Jovan. But luckily, they're playing a Colorado Buffs team that's just as bad, if not worse. And they've dropped 4 games in a row as well. I thought it was significant seeing Cincy catching steam on the roads, considering they have not covered or won a game in their last 4 as well. And they're coming off of only putting up 40 points, an extremely embarrassing performance against Kansas in their last game. That's more than just a loss, Jovan. That's an absolute embarrassment. That's a disgrace, and that's go back to the drawing board and hit the reset button, right? On the road, laying 3.5. On the road, laying 3.5 against a bad Buffs team. I'm not seeing Colorado showing up in the spots. They're coming off of 4 losses as well. They've only covered 1 game over the last month. I think the Buffs are just bad, and I'll take Cincy, who I think is good in a bounce back spot, coming off a bunch of losses as well. Minus 3.5 on the road up there in Colorado.
Sure. I'm down to fade the Buffs, especially with Cincy. Struggling a little bit lately, but I think Colorado is bad.
Good. So do I.
Do you want
what else we got?
Rip back and forth here?
Yeah, what else you got? What are you crafting up over there?
Lake Show against the Heat today. Minus 5.5, which I think is a pretty big number. And I kind of figured I would be back to this. I didn't know when the next matchup was going to be because they played just about a month ago. And I figured I'd be back to this the next time they play because that first game was absolutely absurd. I think we talked about it on here. That was like the one game I slightly considered breaking my rule of taking the Heat when they were sharp at home. And they beat them by 41. They shot a ridiculous, I probably should find the exact number. They shot ridiculous from 3. That was the best 3-point shooting game they've had for the entirety of the season. It was actually absurd. Watching that game, it felt like it wasn't real. They shot 24 of 47 from 3, 51%. And that was the biggest outlier game the Heat have had all year by a wide margin. And also on the Lakers side, their whole identity is shooting a lot of threes. That's the whole JJ Redick analytics. They only shot 22 threes in that game and only made 5, which obviously didn't help either. But they didn't let him get many shots off. It was just an odd type of game. And now the Heat coming back for the rematch. This is the last game of their 6-game West Coast road stand. Not only the last game of a road stand where I think they're pretty gassed, pretty tired. You can see it in the last couple games in their performance. But this is also the last game before Jimmy Butler comes back, whether he actually comes back or whether he's just scheduled to come back on Friday. This feels like a game I don't feel like you're going to get the best effort from the Heat, frankly. And I've been pretty decent at picking these spots up. They do this a lot on West Coast road trips, but especially with this being just the last game after a grueling game against the Clippers. That was pretty strong, pretty defensive, just a slugfest. That was very physical. And then you're coming to this game. The Lakers had their little layoff because of the fires, which sucked, but they have a game under their belt where they actually did not look good in that either. Glad they got the rust off. Now with the line continuing to move towards the Lakers, it kind of feels pretty telling of what's going to happen in this game. So don't think it's a great day for my Heat, unfortunately.
And we talk about fans of teams not knowing their squads or how to bet them, but you're pretty good at fading your Heat. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So if you're laying it against the Heat, taking the Lakers today, sign me up. I'm in.
Sure.
I'm in. Want to circle back to my plays?
Yep.
Hey. I'm taking Washington tonight. We'll see how it goes. They're playing a ranked squad. They're getting some points. Pull up the game. I'm taking Great Osabar and Co. late night tonight. It's 2 late night plays to round out my sharp report plays here. Against Purdue, fading them. I fade them every game, I feel like. It does not work out at all. But in this matchup, we finally have a team that has some size. They got Great Osabar, who I think is going to have an absolute day today. You got Purdue coming in off of a bunch of wins in a row, 4 straight covers. They're taking care of business. They're destroying teams on the roads. They have not had a blip up really yet. Well, I think this is their blip up. Washington comes in off of 3 straight L's. This is a perfect buy low spot for the Huskies and sell high spot for the Boilermakers. I will back Washington with the points, getting 7.5 here at home against big and bad Purdue.
Yep. I'm in for that. Great Osabar is pissing me off this year, but
it's very up and down.
Very up and down. And his downs are really, really bad performances. So I'm hoping you get a good one because I'll be on this with you.
W. Bababana. Appreciate the shout out in chat. Washington is awful. Yeah, they are. But they're only getting 7.5 points. I thought they'd be getting double digits. I think they keep that game weirdly close. All right?
Yeah, W by low. Speaking of buy low, sell high spots. How about Tennessee, which I frankly wish you got a better number doing it, but they're taxing you pretty heavy, which I think is surprising. And
Ooh.
I am the biggest probably Georgia fan as far as the basketball team goes. You'll find, and we talked about this preseason. This is now the first time they've been ranked since 2014. So it's been a while. This is their first game they're going to be playing after that happens. So I mean, love the fade teams after that, but they just played. I mean, a fantastic week of basketball. They demolished, I think, Kentucky in a game that was even wider in margin than the final box score showed at home. They played another home game against Oklahoma where they looked absolutely flawless. And Tennessee did pretty much the opposite with 2 road games last week. They squeaked the one out against Texas where they really didn't look good at all. But right before that was one of the worst performances I think any ranked team has put up this year in any scenario at Florida, where, I mean, they couldn't shoot. They kept trying stuff that didn't work. It was awful. So they made some adjustments going to that Texas game. Didn't look fantastic. Like I said, you had the whole Chaz Lanier benching because he wouldn't shoot the ball. Now you're coming back home in a big matchup. Georgia's finally getting ranked, finally getting the respect they deserve. But a lot of the edge that they've had over all these teams is their physicality and their rebounding, which when you play a team like Kentucky, who is built to run, built to go fast, sure, you're going to have that advantage. Same thing with Kentucky, or same thing with Oklahoma, who's a little undersized and not exactly physical. When you play a team like Tennessee, that's also what they're built on, and they do it better than you do. So I think it was a rough week for Tennessee. This is probably the spot to buy back in, and they get a dominating win over Georgia.
Yeah, I could see it. I certainly would rather play Tennessee than Georgia in this spot. No doubts. Buying low on the Vols after sure a win, but a really bad game from Chaz and co. Offensively, I could see it. Laying a big old number against Georgia has been playing really well. And fading that squad when they're ranked for the first time. I'm in. I like this spot. You want to go over Dayton since we're here?
Yeah, might as well. I mean, similar, I guess, type reasoning as far as bounce back spots go, even though the Dayton stretch goes far beyond just last week and the couple games they played. But last week, I mean, they lost outright to George Washington by 20 points as 9.5 point favorites. They lost outright to UMass as 10.5 point favorites. So, I mean, a really bad week. They haven't covered a game since December 14th. It's been a really, really bad stretch for Dayton, but raises an eyebrow of why they're getting steam against George Mason, which George Mason, they have not been much better, I guess, ATS, but they're at least winning games and they're playing a lot of close games. I don't think this is going to be the same case. Kind of similar thing to Tennessee, Georgia. Like George Mason's been very physical against a lot of these teams like URI, Davidson, Richmond, which is why they've been playing kind of these close, gritty games. But when you play a team like Dayton, the fact that that's your strength doesn't really work to your benefit nearly as much as it does against a lot of those other teams, which is why I think this is finally the big bounce back spot for Dayton where they put it together. Again, their strengths are George Mason's strengths to a degree. They just do it better than they do. So I think this is going to be one of those classic A10 physical games where Dayton's defense puts George Mason's offense in a locker and they finally get a good performance they've been waiting for literally a month because they've been terrible.
I think there's a chance that Dayton might not just be good.
I don't think they're that. I don't think they're that good. I really don't. But I mean, for what it's worth, I don't think George Mason is all that good either.
Warriors been fading the Patriots. Maybe I'm just biased. I like what they're building down there in Fairfax. And I hate what I'm seeing out of Dayton, but this is a great buy low spot for the Flyers at home. I cannot discount that. It's a good spot, and it's a big old line against the Patriots who've been playing better. So, the spot's great. I cannot discount that at all. All right. I think I got one more play for the peeps. Yep. How about UNLV and how about back in Dayton Thomas, the GOAT? It's been a couple weeks since we got to back him in the squads. I'm excited for it. Coming off of 2 losses, we get to back Dayton Thomas and the UNLV Running Rebels here at home against red-hot Utah State. They have not been covering games, but they've been winning. But they've not covered their last 3 games in a row. They've been in some close affairs, some closer games than they should have been in their last 3. They're kind of treading water right now. Utah State, they've had some lucky wins as well, some buzzer beaters, some crazy dubs. But overall, Utah State's been great this season. They're ranked. They're 16-1, and once again, they get no respect. Well, I'm fading them again here. They're laying 5.5 on the road. I think they opened up 4.5. No crazy movement there. I'll back the Rebels here, getting a handful of points and the better point guard in Dean Thomas to carry them to at least a cover and keeping this game within a couple field goals. I'll back the Rebels here at home in a bounce back spot coming in off of 2 losses. I cannot resist backing the points here. And we know bad things happen when ranked teams go to play in Vegas at the Thomas and Mack Center. That place will probably be pretty loud for no reason. A lot of bettors in the building, and they'll probably all be on the Rebels.
You'd hope so. That would be nice.
Yep.
Get them out of piss. Let them have a good time down there.
I can't tell you the last time they've beaten Utah State. I better look. It's been a while, like years. Let's see. Yeah, they've beaten them the last 6 games in a row. So it's been since like 2020. Oof. Mahoney, I can't convince you on that one, man. Come on. It's been a long time. We got to back your Rebels, bro. Come on. Yeah, since 2020. They have not beaten them. 5 years. I think they might beat them outright tonight, but I'll take the points.
Sure.
All right. PrizePicks swears. Want to talk about them?
Of course.
Let's get involved. Taking a square against my Hokies. Hey, the Hokies have been playing good ball of late. I cannot hate. They might not be winning a ton of games, although they did go and steal a game on the road, and they have won 2 of their last 3. They've looked the best in their last 3 games, and they have all season. Now could be a good time to fade Jovan. And let's back a star guard, Jaden Taylor. Maybe the only thing I like down there at NC State. I don't like this team. I thought they went on a Mickey Mouse run last year. They lost a lot of their glue guys, their stars last season, and Big Burns. But this year, they still got Jaden Taylor. A guy's got plenty of experience. He's played against the Hokies before. He's played down there in Castle before, a weird place to play. It's kind of dark in there. A lot of players don't like playing there, but he's been there before. And the total in this game, excuse me, total in this game moving up 2 points. NC State a favorite on the road. Both these teams have been bad this season. NC State's lost 3 of their last 4, but I think Jaden Taylor gets them back in the win column on the road. And I think he, puts up a 20-piece, to be completely honest with you, against my Hokies. But all we need is 13 for the Wolfpack's leader.
I'm always down to fade the Hokies, Krabs. So count me in.
Has to be done. And then Des Watson. I think Sister Jean's getting a show put on for her tonight. I think the Ramblers get a big-time win. I think Sister Jean goes home happy with a smile on her face. I'll take Des Watson. He's got a weird point square. He's got a weird 3 square, Jovan, up on the boards. And he's playing against Rhode Island today. They don't play a lick of defense. They've been in a ton of high-scoring games this season so far. They can put the ball in the hoop, that's for sure, but they can't cover a parked car. I think this game's very high-scoring. Loyola Chicago, they're coming in off of 4 losses in their last 5 games. I like them laying 3.5 at home. But instead of playing them there, I'm going to back Des Watson on PrizePicks and take his more than 1.5 threes. Extremely rented out square. I think he cashes this in the first half.
Des Watson. For
Sure.
Sister Jean.
For
Curry
Jean.
Sister Jean.
Look, don't be selfish, Des, right? Don't be selfish now. Now's not the time, all right? Who knows how many games left Sister Jean has? So you got to go out there and show her, a great performance.
Yeah.
Right?
Got to.
Has to be done. I do like Loyola Chicago on the spread at home in that game as well.
Sure.
I do. What are you cooking up on PrizePicks over there?
I couldn't be betting on Tennessee, even in a game that, it's 2 teams with defensive identities, but I couldn't be betting on them without expecting a big bounce back game from Chaz Lanier, who's had 20 points combined in his last 2 games. And obviously, the game against Florida, nobody could put the ball in the hoop. And then the game against Texas, he kind of got benched for a little part of it. So he's had 2 really rough games, but those are on the road. He's at home. All shooters are better at home for the most part, but him specifically this year, there's been some pretty drastic splits for a majority of the games. So now coming back against the Georgia team, who there's a reason why they compete really well against a lot of these teams on the boards. They go under everything and they kind of keep themselves anchored to the paint. So they have 15 bodies there to get rebounds. And against a bigger Tennessee team, you can assume they're going to make some adjustments to a shooter like Chaz Lanier, but their identity is to kind of bang with them on the boards. So I think that's going to be relatively the same, but Chaz Lanier is going to have a big bounce back game, and that's going to be why Tennessee is going to win this game big. So Chaz Lanier,
I like it.
20 points has to be done. Then Elliot Cadeau, I mean, in a game where there's going to be points. I think the total is 164.5. They're playing Cal. They're 2-touchdown favorites. Cal's defense is absolutely atrocious at pretty much every level, but they're really bad. I mean, they'll let you shoot plenty of threes. Sure, they'll do that as much as you want, but they're really bad at letting any guard that wants to get to the rim get to the rim. So I think Elliot Cadeau, whether he's just playmaking and other people are getting to the rim, or he's being super aggressive himself, whether that's in the half court or in transition, where Cal's defense is also terrible. This feels like a game made for Elliot Cadeau. Like if you're a guard who's super aggressive against Cal and you can't really shoot like an Elliot Cadeau, those guys have been absolutely shredding Cal in transition especially. So Elliot Cadeau, this can be an RJ Davis game, sure, because if he wants to shoot 20 shots and be aggressive, I mean, he can do whatever he wants against that defense too, but you probably want to push the tempo against Cal just a little bit. And it feels like Elliot Cadeau has been more the guy consistently to do that for UNC this year. So take his PRA.
I'm locking in the 4-man as we speak. I got to make sure we have this locked because it keeps getting bumped and squares keep getting taken off the boards.
Do that.
Yes. We had Yasabuki square getting taken off the board yesterday shortly after BTL.
Yeah, that was because we were getting no Maxey and no Paul George. It's kind of an anomaly.
Yeah. I just dropped the link to the Sharpport 4-man. I love the Chaz square, and I could get down with the Qdoba, more than 17.5 PRA square down there at UNC as well. Yep. I'm in. We got an interesting comment here from Trent. Krabs, I'm not even trying to chirp. I just need to know what was the read on Indiana last night. It's 113 straight at home. And then they were dogs. Doesn't seem like a U play. You're not wrong, Trent. I'll give you that. It's not really a crabby looking play on the surface, but it was a system play that I have to play every single time. It's pretty profitable. So I'll leave it at that. And every other square and book play on the board hit. I went 4-1 yesterday on plays. All right, let's move. Let's groove. Jovan, that's enough talking about PrizePicks squares for one day. I dropped the link to the Sharp Report 4-man in the chat if you guys want to tail. We got some subbies coming in. We got Waka coming in, dropping a resub. We got Wags Locks coming in, dropping a resub. Commanders ML, keep the points. Keep them. Jovan, any comments?
I mean, I won't disagree too much. I think they can stay in it. I don't know if keep the points, but
he might have been talking about Sunday night.
No, I'm pretty sure he's talking about the Lions game.
Oh, he's not talking about the Tampa game?
No.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, big game coming up on Saturday night. I guess we can head over there to the divisional games if you're down to talk about them.
Of course.
Look at some of these spreads. Let's get to it, chat. Let's talk about some of these divisional lines. We'll get to the Commanders in a moment. Okay, but for now, let's get to the Houston and Kansas City game. I mentioned getting weird vibes about the Texans hanging around. I do lean that way on the spreads. Do I love seeing them going from plus 7.5 to plus 8.5? No, I don't. But what are you going to not see steam against the Chiefs? You probably are. So not really that crazy to see that. Kansas City might have some rust as well. Their starters haven't played in like 2 weeks now, counting the last week of the regular season as well, Jovan. And they did not put up a single point on offense when Carson Wentz was under center. So I think maybe the Texans are a good look here on the spreads. I like the under in this game. But I do think Kansas City advances and they end up winning like they always do. Those are my early thoughts on this game. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really ever back the Chiefs when they're hanging a significant amount of points, really touchdown or higher, because they always play with their food, especially this year. It's exactly what they do game after game after game. But there's not anything in this world that can get me to bet on CJ Stroud in the windy snow in Kansas City, especially after what we've seen from him the second half of the season. And he wasn't good last week either. Herbert was just 50 times worse. So I'm good on that. The Chiefs will probably win. Maybe they'll play with their food for a little bit, just like they always do. But CJ Stroud will be watching from the couch in a week.
You mentioned John Mechie. You like his more than 31.5 receiving yards, I'm assuming.
Yeah, which again, I mean, a little sketchy because of the weather, but the wide receiver options are slim to none right now as far as options beyond just Nico Collins. And I guess if we're talking just overall pass catchers, Dalton Schultz is involved, of course, too. But against a heavy man coverage team for the most part, when you're down a couple of guys that were, I don't know, just depth guys to have in there. Robert Woods was a pretty big part of the game for the start of it. Deontay Johnson didn't really play a huge role, but it was depth guys. And John Mechie caught a handful of targets early before it kind of flamed out, and he didn't need to have the ball thrown to him a bunch. It's got to be his day.
I'll tell you what, I'll have coins on Xavier Hutchinson less than 10.5 receiving yards. That square's up nice and early. He's coming off that big catch he had for like 34 yards, I think, in that game last week. I'll be on his less than. I also think it'll be a Kaimi Fairburn game potentially here, again, like it was last week. I like his more than.
Could be the difference.
I feel like they'll be trotting out Kaimi Fairbairn out there a couple more times than you'd expect. And we saw that last week. I think they go to him again. I like his more than fantasy score, more than 8 on PrizePicks.
Good. I think I had him on every single fantasy team, maybe besides one this year.
He's solid, man. He gets plenty of volume. And I think the Chiefs, they'll let Stroud get down there in the zone, but not the red zone. And they'll end up settling for a lot of field goals in this game. That'll be good for the under as well.
Hopefully that wind chills out.
Yeah. Probably not going to back the Texans after a 20-point win as dogs, like they're saying in chat. Good point. I'll probably be on the under on the books in this game. Jovan, are you going to play anything on the books?
No, I'll probably look for Chiefs live at some point, maybe after they fuck around for a quarter.
All right. Let's talk about the only game that matters. Enough talking about fucking Chiefs and Texans. Who gives a shit? Let's talk about the Lions and the Commanders. Okay. Saturday night, Commanders are getting plus 9.5. They got no chance in this game. You got Sonic and Knuckles, right? You got both guys back in this one, Demont and Gibbs. No chance the Commies win, right? They're, great story, right? But, their trip is done. Once they head to Detroit, everyone's already ruled them out, and no chance they keep this game even within 10 points, let alone win outright. Right, Jovan? No chance.
There's a chance, Krabs. I would say.
There's a chance.
Nobody's giving him a chance, but I'll be the one. I'll be the neutral one to give him a chance.
Every year, there's one weird team that just wins when they shouldn't. Team of destiny type. And if you don't think the Commies are that team yet, you might want to buy in. This team is something special, and the Lions are banged up. I know they get their other stud running back in this game, but the Commies are going to fight, and they're going to keep this game close. Their defense looks okay, good enough. I know Lattimore's not coming off a great game, but hopefully he can do enough against St. Brown. Laporta's probably going to get his, sure.
Right.
And chat's asking about it as well. Nobody wants this over. I like this over. After we saw the primetime under on Sunday Night Football, Jovan, I think this is when we can get cute and back some points and back the over, because we know the Lions, they're going to put up points, right? They're going to run the ball down our throats probably. They're going to have some success in the passing game with Laporta and probably St. Brown at times, even with Marshawn Lattimore back there doing his best. And the Commies are going to follow suit against the banged-up Lions defense. They're going to put up points as well. They're going to be staying in this game, and they're going to be putting up some tutties to follow up the Lions' tutties. They're going to be right there hand in hand, neck and neck. I will coming in with a subby. Let's go. I will.
W's.
He says Jovan is my absolute GOAT. I will.
Timothy.
Yes. I like the Commies on the spread. I like the over in this game. Give me the over 55.5. That's probably the play that I'd recommend the most.
I don't know if that would be good for you, Krabs, because frankly, I mean, one of the reasons why I think the Commies have a chance to keep it close is, and don't make me, or I'm not saying that the Bucs are the Lions, because very clearly they're not, but they didn't even have to try and really win last week. All they had to do was try and keep the ball away from Baker Mayfield's hands, and they did it successfully. So, I mean, if I'm Cliff Kingsbury, why would I not do the same thing against the Lions?
I don't know. But I don't think they'll have as much success moving the rock as they did against the Bucs at times.
I don't know. I mean, the Bucs defense is worse. I don't know how much worse they are with how shorthanded the Lions are. And granted, we finally saw the Lions have a really good performance against the Vikings. But again, after seeing Sam Darnold shit down his leg against the Rams defense. I don't know how much we can take into stock that performance really anymore.
That's a good point. It's going to be a dogfight. Chat's talking about Anzalone probably spying or hawking on JD the entire game. Yep, that definitely scares me for his rushing yards, but good thing that dude can huck the living shit out of the football. It can pass like no other.
Anytime a team has spied Jaden Daniels for the entirety of the game, he has shredded them. So if he wants to do that, I mean, the Commanders are going to have a shot to win this game. So it's a give and take.
Give me the commies on the ML. Give me the commies on the spread. Give me the over in the game. Got a weird feeling about this over. PrizePicks squares in this one. Giovanni, you got any early thoughts on any line squares?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to the grave with Gold Jacket Laporta this week.
Sure.
Which, if Cade Otton didn't suck, he would have had any chance. Obviously, the game script played in it too, but I think the tight ends are going to be a little spot of weakness for the Commanders' defense, whether it's Laporta or any of the backups for a bit of it. And I think over the past couple weeks of the regular season, he's gotten, back to his normal route tree that we saw a little bit last year when he was really grubbing. So they're giving a lot of that to JMO for a while, and now it's back to Laporta. So he's starting to grub a little more. So I think this is his game. And I'm not saying that just because he's my guy. I try to pick out my spots to bet on him. And I think this is one.
I agree. I wouldn't mind having him in a lineup somewhere. I also think Jake Bates gets involved in this game heavily. It'd be something. It'd be storybook. It's very scripted. If Jake Bates has a big impact on this game, Commanders Twitter, Commanders Faithful knows Jake Bates very well. We all wanted him, at least on social media. We made it very clear we wanted him preseason once we had to cut McManus because of all his off the field issues. And of course, now he got signed to the Packers and everything was fine, whatever. Commanders Twitter, everybody wanted Jake Bates, a stud from the UFL, kicking the heck out of footballs, kicking 60-yarder game winners in the XFL. Kid's a beast, right? We all wanted him, and we got stuck with the OCD guy who had a game winner doink last week. Wouldn't it be something, Jovan, if Zane Gonzalez doesn't have his fastball this weekend? So maybe he ends up missing a field goal or two, and it's Jake Bates. And I'm sitting on my couch going, well, that's the guy we should have gotten. That's the young kicker we should have signed right off the rip anyways. We don't have, a rotating circle of 10 kickers. I've already seen it, Jovan. That's something I'm going to set during this game on Saturday night.
Such a steam Krabs waiting to happen.
Yep. So I'll tell you right now, whether it's the 8 kicking points or the 1.5 field goals made, that's relatively red on PrizePicks, I will have Jake Bates involved somehow, some way.
Sure.
Okay. Because I can already see you getting pissed right now about Jake Bates going off. Yep. Any Commander squares, Jovan?
I mean, regardless of the game plan, I feel like it has to be Eckler again, right?
Ooh.
Against that defense, where if they're going to go ahead and spy Jaden Daniels, sure, that's going to leave the flats and really anything underneath super wide open, which for the linebackers' sake, I guess, could mean a lot of Zach Ertz. But Eckler, I mean, frankly, should have been a lot more involved than he was last week. And he's still got catches and yards, I believe. So it kind of feels like it's right back to it.
Yeah, you mentioned another guy that I wanted to take in this game, and that's Zach Ertz. You also mentioned Laporta. I think there's 2 tight ends who get active, up and moving, involved in this game early and often. And that's Zach Ertz along with Laporta. Coming off a goose egg, not a great game, wasn't involved much against the Bucs. I think Zach Ertz gets up and moving. I like his 32.5 receiving yards.
So how about a Ertz-Laporta combo square? That's 79.5.
That could play and that could pay. Love it. Yeah. Any thoughts on any thoughts on Terry? Any thoughts on Zacchaeus or any of the receivers on this Commanders team? De'Ami Brown, breakout game.
Yeah, I mean, not too much. I guess the one thing that I do have to respect, regardless of the whole Sam Darnold situation from, that final regular season game, is how well they played Justin Jefferson as a unit. And not that Jaden Daniels is super Terry reliant, because he really can go anywhere. That's kind of the nature of the scheme and the offense for Cliff. But I got to respect that. I don't know if I want to go right back to Terry, the Saint Todd Bowles brain dead defense at the very least.
Yeah, the more that I think about what you were saying, the more that I want to take Eckler this weekend. I'm looking at his 10 fantasy score, pretty high. I'm looking at his receiving yards or receptions. It's at 3 after it was at 2.5 last week and cashed. I think Eckler's a pretty darn good look for the Commies offense this weekend.
Sure.
All right. And Zacchaeus is probably green after costing a lot of lineups this past weekend.
Yep.
He's probably green. Yep. All right. Love it. Let's move. Let's groove. Let's talk about the third game for the NFL divisional rounds this weekend. Let's move to Sunday. Let's talk about the Rams and the Eagles. Jovan, your team of destiny, your Super Bowl champ, the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, gross. They're laying 6 points against the Rams, who are coming off a great performance against the Vikings. Jovan, Sean McVay. Now I'm starting to understand why he wanted to play the Vikings, because he saw a win and he went out there and they got it. Now they're getting 6 points on the road against Philly. Do the Rams have any chance against your Eagles?
I don't think so. And I'm just looking at this line, looking at this game. I don't know if I've seen a play that looks any easier than the Rams +6. Not just this week, but the last handful of weeks in the NFL. I mean, they just had a masterclass of performance on both sides of the ball against the Vikings for everybody to see. Made Sam Darnold look like Jet Sam Darnold. And now we get the Eagles, who didn't even look really good against the Packers. And this is exactly what I was worried about, I guess, for the Eagles. Not so much that they would just come out and be this big-time juggernaut, but the defense was just so good to the point where, coming off of some rest, they don't really have to be incredibly sharp to win a lot of these games. They just have to grind it out, win gritty physical games. And that's exactly what they did against the Packers. Not only won, but ended up covering too. And now you're getting a bigger line against the Rams. That seems incredibly trappy. If I am a neutral bettor, which, I mean, I have investments on the Eagles, but I'm rooting against that as much as Cowboys fans are rooting against the Eagles in this game. I do not want to see that coin return home. It's just more the feeling and the read that I had about that team, and I hate every single bit of it. But 6 points against the Rams seems obscene.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want me to pull up SeatGeek and find some tickets for you for the Eagles game on Sunday?
Yeah, definitely not.
You're a big fan now.
Definitely not.
Right. Looking at some squares on PrizePicks. Don't you think this is about time when we start seeing some Kenneth Gainwell getting involved in the offense, whether it makes sense or not? Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know why. Saquon ran for, what was it, 215, maybe higher against the Rams in the regular season. I don't know why you would. I mean, not that. I mean, Gainwell's line is 9.5, so I mean, you can get that on just one random play if they sneak him in there. But it's the game you pay Saquon Barkley though. Pay it for, and I will say I'm looking at Jalen Hurts too, which is odd because people really didn't associate him looking. Like his performance against the Packers is looking very healthy, but he barely hit his rushing line last week, and now it's not very much higher, but it's a tad higher this week, which is interesting, especially being that Saquon ran for 200 plus yards against the same team. So you would think, why would Jalen Hurts really have to use his legs if Saquon is dominating once again? It's probably going to be because he's going to pull when the whole defense collapses on Saquon to try and avoid that masterclass that happened on national TV in the regular season.
Huh. I got a square that's turning green in this game.
Let me hear it.
Saquon Barkley, more than 10.5 receiving yards. Cost me coin last week. Took this more than. Didn't even come close. They're hanging a 10.5 double-digit line here once again. He hasn't sniffed that number in weeks. Shit, you could even say months. You tell me he's not breaking a dink and dunk against the Rams? Maybe 2? And cashing this number?
Probably yes.
It's a very Reddit out chart that I'm very interested in. I like it.
Yeah.
What about Jalen Hurts? You looking to target him anyhow, anyway? They got a 1.5 rushing receiving touchdown square for him. A demon. No normal square. No goblin, I don't think. Nope.
Kind of funny.
No gob.
Let me Kyle Juice check that real quick.
No gob.
He's only minus 120 to score. I mean, that's juicier than he was last week, I guess, for a majority of the week, but kind of weird that's not being offered.
I mean, he's getting at least one. We know that looking at that square.
Yeah.
Could it just be Jalen Hurts' fantasy score then? Pretty red.
It just might be.
Maybe it's just his 20 fantasy score. He's getting one, maybe two. He's probably throwing one as well. There should be some points in this game. Matt Stafford in the playoffs always shows up. It's not like the Rams are going to fall flat on their face, right? It's not like it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
You want that for Jalen Hurts more than fantasy score. I'm liking that square and that angle. I like that. I like Saquon. Are there any Rams that you're liking, Jovan? Maybe Cooper Kupp?
No, definitely not Cooper Kupp. I'm good on that. Did my time and lost my coin. I'm good, and they really don't have all that much up outside of, I don't know. They got some Puka squares up. They got some Kyron squares up. They got a couple Stafford squares up. Other than that,
I'll tell you what they do have. It's a greened out Joshua Cardi square, and he's not kicking two.
Yeah, probably not kicking two. See,
Weird feet squares.
Kyron rush attempts got bumped down pretty fat.
Wow.
I saw it 21.5 when it opened. It's at 19 flat now, which
it's good for the Eagles game scripts, right?
Potentially, yeah.
Matthew Stafford more than 225.5 passing yards. That's probably green in an L game script.
Yeah.
We've got his more than half a rushing yard up there as well. That might just be green too. And you know what, Jovan? I'll just go ahead and get out ahead of this one. I probably will have Cooper Kupp in something.
Dude.
Yep.
You're a sicko for that.
Yep. It's happening. It's happening. I could see this unders finding a way to hit, though. Looks like a game with a lot of offensive firepower. Rams are coming in off a big performance. Eagles can put up plenty of points. But this total opened up pretty low, and it's dropping. I could see this game finding a way to sneak under.
I mean, I'm not here to tell you any different necessarily. I'm not taking that over. But I would assume I was kind of thinking it was probably weather induced, which it looks like it probably is. It's looking like there's some potential snow coming on Sunday.
Okay. I will not be betting that under if there's snow. These guys did play a couple months ago, though, and the game went over. There was 57 points total. Total was 48.5 in that game, and now we're seeing this total dropping down to 43.5. Pretty low. I know it's the playoffs and there's some snow, but give me that under in that game. Okay. One more game. We might need Gucci up here for this one. We got the Ravens flipping from a dog to a favorite. +1.5 look ahead lines, +1.5 when the line drops. Now the Ravens are -1.5 heading to Buffalo with their wingnuts wings in their bellies as favorites. Wow. Well, I talked about on the pod, I like the Bills. A lot of the reason why I like the Bills was because they were favorites in that spot against the Ravens. Now that flipped, I'm getting a little scared. I'm not going to lie to you. Can we get the Gucci reports on how he's feeling about the Ravens? Does he have any non-biased plays?
I want to hear from Jovan first.
I mean, you know what I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even worth my time because it's hilarious to me that this is the play. So it's not even worth my time.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know what I think, but I'm interested to hear what you think about some squares because there are some Raven squares. I think I can.
Time out. Let's go in reverse here for a sec as we get a William Wagers subby coming in. William Wagers, W's. He says, remember the last time the media had a spotlight on A.J. Brown? Now the dude is starting a book club on the sidelines. He's about to have a day. Yeah, I can see that, William Wagers. Yep. I agree. And W subby. Let's take a step back here, though, for a second. Jovan, what are you thinking about this game? I'm putting the context clues together. I'm assuming you like the Bills, even with the line flip.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know what? Because I was interested. I kind of thought the Ravens would be favorites to begin with. The Bills have been like ridiculous at home so far this year, but it's been against, for the most part, shit teams. So like it makes sense that they've been so good at home. But I was listening, and it's 100% the truth. Like I'm listening to ESPN talk about this game. They're like, obviously you can put the quarterback debate, flip a coin on it, but they're like, quarterback, who's better? The Ravens. Running back, who's better? The Ravens. Wide receiving group, who's better? The Ravens. All the offensive line, defensive line. Who's better? The Ravens. Secondary. Who's better? The Ravens. They're better in every single form or fashion. Yet, I mean, nobody seems to want to give the Bills a chance. But you got the guy who should be the MVP on the other side of the ball in Buffalo, in the cold, potential snow and wind, of course, too. Nobody wants to give him a shot. I don't want to give him a shot because the Bills have just looked like that special team all year. And the Ravens have looked certainly much better than they did at the start of the season. The second half of the season, they've been incredible, granted against some pretty terrible teams themselves, but I'm sticking to it. And I think you should too, because I know that's where your meat was pre-playoffs.
Oh, God. Goots. Help. I'm scared.
What do you need, Krabs?
Well, I did like the Bills before the playoffs. Now I'm seeing that line flip, and I'm thinking about maybe coming over to the Ravens side. Then I got Jovan in my ear telling me, wait a second, Krabs. Hold on.
Well, Jovan's
Maybe
also
you're
the
right.
guy that took our team total under. So I think you should listen to
Ooh.
me over him.
Ooh. Okay.
So
Now
Fair.
you're talking here.
Yeah.
Now you're talking. Goots, let me get a score prediction in this game. Looks like the Ravens are -1.5. The total is at 51.5. It's dropped 1 point.
well, we beat them 35-10 in Baltimore a couple weeks ago. So I mean,
Probably a little closer this time around in
yeah,
Buffalo. In
I'll give
playoffs,
them the
right?
benefit there.
Sure.
31-17. How's that sound?
Okay. That's a big time win, Gootsy, for the Ravens. You're feeling pretty good leaving that game.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason I
Right.
shouldn't be confident. I mean, we've been number one in pretty much every defensive statistical category since like what, week 13, somewhere around there. So
Yeah.
Number one.
number one.
And you know what? I'll put hand
One.
up on this too. You know what happened the last time somebody on here who was a fan of the team and had their team absolutely demolish the other team and see the rematch in the playoffs and felt pretty confident about the second time around?
Mm.
You know how that ended, Krebs?
You talking about you with the Bucks?
Yeah.
Not great.
I mean, I feel pretty confident we got Steelers fans in chat bitching about the Ravens. So,
You know they're gonna bitch, Gootsy.
yeah, I mean, they just can't get over themselves.
Well, we got the Gootsy score prediction.
Yep.
Do we have a Gootsy meat on tape Raven Square yet? Because yours
Yeah.
last weekend was absolutely free. Okay.
It's
You have
hard
one
not
this
to want to
weekend.
get nasty like that again. There's not really like a Tylen Wallace type square up.
Not
I
yet.
think there might be one.
Yeah, there might be some coming. That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't really have like a POD yet. But
No, I think there might be. I mean, not Tylan Wallace nasty, but
I think Justice Hill.
Justice Hill's pretty nasty. I was looking at that, but
Yeah.
I kind of want to go Bateman.
Yeah, I don't mind Bateman. I mean, he made the big catch for the touchdown last week. So
He's a touchdown machine for you guys.
yeah, it's just Zay is still not sure. But even if Zay plays, I would still like Bate because I don't know how much would use Zay depending on how his injury is. But it might like a Jeremiah Love type situation.
Yep.
But we'll see. I don't
I'll
know.
tell you what's going to hit after last week and that great call about that Mark Andrews rushing yards or rush attempt square. Now they have his rushing yards square up there.
They do.
Unfortunately for Mark, he's not going to be getting a carry this weekend. So looking at that square, he had 5 rushing yards last week, right?
Because he did it 3 times.
I was going to say he had a couple attempts, right?
Yeah.
He's probably going less than that number this time around. He might be more of a factor in the receiving game this time around.
Krabs, it's just 4th and 1, 3rd and 1. It's Mark. So it's not that he's not an asset in the receiving game. It's just that 1 yard tush push, Jalen Hurts. That's the play.
Yeah.
I don't think they need to do that against the Bills, though. That's the thing. The Steelers are one thing, but the Bills' weakest point of the entire team is their interior defensive line, which is why Derrick Henry ran for 200.
You would think, as a football fan, they have Derrick Henry 3rd and 1. Why the heck would they not put Pat Ricard out of formation, give it to Derrick? If you watch 3rd, 4th, and 1's Ravens season this whole year, the percentage Derrick always gets stuffed on 3rd and 1. That's the one play every time. I swear, every time I'm always bitching about it. It's just 3rd and 1, give it to Derrick, get stopped, and then next play rips 20-yard run. It's just for some reason, this 4th and 1, 3rd and 1's Derrick Henry have been cursed for the Ravens this year.
I like Justice Hill more than receiving yards. 20.
There is a caveat with that, Krabs, because the reason I looked at that square and I was like, holy shit, that's high. Then I looked at the first matchup where no Ravens receiver had more than 26 yards, but Justin Hill had 6 for 78. Ooh. So that's little caveat. That's probably why it's as high as it is.
Damn.
I wouldn't. I mean, we've been talking about feet a lot. I wouldn't mind Tucker. I mean, he didn't get much action against Steelers, so he's up for 7 kicking points. Pretty red.
I mean, I took him last week. It looked like an idiot, but I would be more than down to go back and take him again.
I mean, we just didn't need him last week, so
yeah. You might need him against the Bills. That's a good point.
Might. Yeah.
Just might. Okay.
Yeah, his 8 fantasy score. Shit, I'd even probably just take his demon field goals made in prime time. That's probably what I would take.
To demon?
Yeah, 1.5 field goals made. Demon.
Wow.
Demon. That gives me Zane Gonzalez vibes from last Sunday Night Football. Any Bills squares? I saw they have a James Cook touchdown square up there. That'll probably find a way to go less than. The guy has the most touchdowns, rushing touchdowns in the NFL this season. And he's up there for a extremely green, normal touchdown square. That's probably finding a way to go less than.
Probably. Granted, there was one of those in Josh Jacobs last week that found its way somehow, some way to be green.
Yep. James Cook receiving triple bagel. I'm seeing in chat.
Yeah, that shit's just up every week.
I mean, that has to be taken.
Yeah.
Like Josh Allen rushing yards, like you were talking about earlier, Jovan.
Yeah, I mean, I got to play that in every single meaningful game that he's going to have, especially when you're literally facing Lamar.
Yep. And then go ahead and give me Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson less than passing or whatever. And give me the under in this game on the Bucs.
Yep, sure.
Under. Should be a fun game on paper, but I think it'll find a way to go under, and that total's already dropping from 52.5 to 51.5. Give me the under. All right, let's move. Enough talking about the NFL look-ahead lines. Let's spend a minute here and talk about some games for today and some lines for today. Jovan, do you want to talk about the NBA or NHL today? Do you have anything going on over there that you're liking?
Not on the NHL. There's only 2 games, I guess, and 2 games with pretty fat favorites. So I'm good on that. We do have a pretty fat NBA slate, though. There's a lot of squares on the board. I think we can craft another one of those pretty gross lineups with.
I would be more than down to craft up a lineup. Chat, now's the time to drop some squares that you're liking for today. We got about 20 minutes left. Let me know if you guys got any nasty squares, any sport, but also NBA as well. Drop them. Now is your chance. Get involved. All right. Jovan, I'll ask you off the rip. Any squares looking at you funny on the PrizePicks board?
I guess out of the ones, because I had 2 CBB squares, I guess, but the one NBA square I was debating putting up here is Miles McBride.
That's crazy. I was just looking at his crazy hair on PrizePicks. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Towns is still questionable. So, I mean, if he ends up not playing, great. But you're supposed to get the Knicks against some combo of, like, the Sixers coming back and playing healthy. Like, there's a potential that it ends up being Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George. But I think we all know that might be a little too good to be true, all of them coming back today. But spread's pretty fat, so it definitely makes you think somebody's sitting out on the Sixers side. But regardless, I mean, it's a good game, I guess, for spot-up shooters. And Miles McBride is going to be just that. So, I mean, it's super red for a reason. And he's probably going to be banging too. And injury news, I guess, can only help us.
You see Julius Randle up 1.5 threes?
I saw it. It's a little painful just looking at it.
I mean, come on. Cut the shit.
Mm-hmm.
We got to take that square. Has to be done.
Yeah, it's gross. I wish it was against really anybody else.
Would you rather take that square? Or would you rather take this Vit Krejci less than 1.5 3 square?
I saw that one too. That one is just insanely hilarious. The fact that it's up against the Bulls of all teams too is crazy.
It's not good.
I mean, that's the highest
points in that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's the highest over on the board, I think, by a pretty good margin. Not that it shouldn't be, because it's a Bulls-Hawks game, but I don't know. I would feel so much better about fading that if Trae Young didn't just drop 40 plus last night.
So you don't want to fade that.
I do. I just don't feel great about it.
Do you feel great about Julius Pork?
Not really either,
No.
but I mean, I'm
Right.
down to take it, of course.
Any other options in chat? Look at Brunson assist. Sixers cannot stop cutters. He's getting 10 plus. Let's go look at Brunson assists. Ooh. What do you think about the Knicks today?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like them. I think it's still a fat line, regardless of who's going to end up coming back for the Sixers out of the other two. So I would have no problem with that. I did peep a sneak double bagel on the board.
Is it Kyrie Irving like they're talking about in chat?
No, it got taken off just as we were talking about it. But no, Kyrie's not even up on the board anymore either.
PJ Washington fantasy score. Derek White points. Or 2 from chat.
Sure.
I don't know if I'm loving the PJ fantasy score. Let's go look at Derek White. Derek White looks pretty popular today. Coming off of 3 moose-shit games. Celtics are laying 15.
Yeah.
Could be blowout potentials there.
Yeah, I guess that's the big issue. If that game gets out of hand early, that could be a problem.
That could be a problem.
100%, dude. Whenever Derek White has one of those games, it's like 12 points, 4 for 4 from 3 immediately.
Are you getting good vibes from Derek White, Gootsy, over there? His assists are red as heck, too. I wouldn't mind looping in his assists.
A little PA action.
PA. I do have it up. Put that in the queue. Krabs, go look at Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks in the big 2-5. How about it?
Wow. Whoa. Are there some injuries for Houston today or what?
I believe so, yeah. I know Jabari, I believe, is out. And somebody else potentially.
Let's see. Jabari's out. Tari Eason game time. He's doubtful. That's it, though.
Yeah. I know the whole world's on Jalen Green today.
Dude, I'm liking Dylan Brooks. You see that square?
Yeah.
Huh. What else from chat? Thompson PRA.
LeBron over Freakhouse. Sure.
I'm good on Clay. Sangoon PRA. Yeah, but we already like Dylan Brooks. Isn't he on the same team?
Yeah.
Krabs, look at job rebounds assist charts. Whoa. Against the Spurs. Holy shit. That total's moving up as well. I feel like that game is going to be high scoring with a lot of points, a lot of back and forth. That looks like a great game on paper too, man. Spurs
props,
Grizz.
huh?
That could be a good game for props. People are saying.
Some people are saying.
And his points are popular too, but his rebounds, assists are what's green. I love that square. I'm getting good vibes from that.
That could be the difference.
Yvonne, I'm looking at 5 squares right now, and I want to cut this down to 4. I'm looking at Miles McBride's, more than 1.5 threes. Looking at Jalen Brunson, more than 8 assists. Looking at Derek White, more than 16.5 points and assists. Dylan Brooks, more than 13.5 points. and John Morant more than 12.5 rebounds and assists.
I
We
mean,
craft up 2 lineups here. We got a lot of recs from chat as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. I'd say, I mean, maybe cut Derek White from that one, only because it's blowout potential. We can put that in something
Okay.
else.
All right, we'll cut Derek White from that one. We'll start a new one with him. You guys want the link to that puppy? We can get CBB Squares involved in this as well, chat. Do not feel bad about it. Do not feel weird about it. Get him involved.
Sure.
Let me drop the link to that lineup that we just crafted. McBride, Brunson, Brooks, and John Morant. I just dropped the link. Boom. All right, keep those squares flowing, chat. Yame Jaquez over 3.5 assists from DJ Fitz. Any thoughts on your guy Jaquez, Jovan?
I mean, I don't hate the square. I just don't really care to take much heat today because I'm fading him.
I don't even have that square up on PrizePicks.
Ooh, I did forget about this one because I was trying to figure it out. Granted, whole world's on Trae Young assist today, rightfully so, because he just dropped 40 plus. He's playing the Bulls on a back-to-back. Just trying to figure out who the guy was, and the guy that obviously immediately stuck out, who sold a lot of people last night, got Bogdan standing there.
Whoa. Bogdan?
Bogdan Bogdanovic, the GOAT. I would not mind taking a stab at him.
13.5 points.
Yeah.
Look at his rebounds, though, Jovan. Holy shit.
I was about to say, I figured you'd see that square and probably want to rope in his boards.
Holy shit. Yeah. All right.
It's the Bulls, though.
Do we want to pull in Julius Pork for this? Is this when we make the call?
We could pull in Pork.
Because Chad likes that Vit Critchy less than threes. I feel like we got to make a call there between one of those two.
Well, Vit is on the same team as Bogdan. So by taking him, we're not directly fading Vit, but we're hoping somebody else does the job.
That's kind of the W correlation, though.
Yeah.
I'm down to go one square, one game. I feel like it's Pork.
It's got to be Pork.
I just typed in Pork on the fucking search bar.
I'm not going to lie to you. I also did it.
Okay. Julius Pork. Can you finally come through for the boys, please? Please. Wemby free throws, red of the Ma. The free throw square has been paying. Krabs, look at Davion Mitchell.
Yeah, I was going to bring that one up to you because, I mean, the chart's weird because he's starting now and Quickly's out. So, like, it makes sense, obviously, but there's a lot being offered for him. So, usually when that's the case and I got a guy starting in somebody else's place, they'll put squares up that look weird, but not this many. Yeah, they got a steal up there too. Which would be, I mean, funny, but also fits.
I don't like that it's popular.
Well, it's popular for the other reason, Krabs. Look at the chart.
I don't know. You think people are taking less tens for Davion
Yes,
Mitchell, or you think
Krabs.
people are being smart and they're saying he's starting today, I'm taking him?
No, dude. I think you're giving people way too much credit.
Maybe. I might be. Wemby free throws I wanted to look at. Because his free throw square has been paying. And they've been playing. 4 free throws made. Whoa.
Redder than beef. 2 free throws in the last 3 games.
I kind of like that square, dude. Could it just be Wemby Hackathon? Could it just be Zach Edey getting stupid fouls against Wemby? Probably. I could
This
so see
might
that.
be. Holy 5.5 blocks and steals. Not that's crazy, but it's absurd seeing that square.
What do you think about Derek White, Bogdan, Julius Pork, and Wembanyama?
That sounds like a solid JV geyser.
That sounds like a perfect JV lineup. Yeah. It sounds perfect. I'm locking it. I'm dropping the lineup for the people in the chat. We're cashing one of these two lineups, chat. So if you didn't get involved in that first one, you might want to get involved in this one. There's also the Sharp Report format. Okay. All right. The lineup has been dropped. Good. Jovan, were there any other CBB plays that you wanted to let the people know about today?
Squares.
Squares, book plays, anything.
I mean, I don't have too many other squares, I guess. I would be down to quick run through some of the book plays, see if you got anything too.
Yeah, we could talk about some of these games real quick. And then we'll get to the squad rides. There's a lot of close spreads today. A lot of big spreads, a lot of great matchups.
Cough, cough. West Virginia.
You want to take Dub V?
No, not at all.
You want to take Houston and fade Dub V?
Yeah, I mean, that line is ridiculous. I think out of the two really big, odd-looking lines today, I definitely like Tennessee better, which is why it made its way on the Sharp Report before Houston did. But, I mean, that line's absurd, especially when, like, I respect West Virginia a lot. I think they're really, really good. So me seeing that line, even though they're without DeVries at this point, seems incredibly telling. I mean, TCU, which we also faded, and they barely didn't cover that line. I mean, they were 17.5, 18.5 against Houston, and now West Virginia is getting just about the same respect, which is odd. Feels like Javon Small is going to be in a box.
I could so see it. If Houston hasn't been a covering machine and covered pretty much every game this year, I would be all over it, but I'll probably stay off that. I like it, though.
Goated. So good.
Yep. Penn State, Michigan State. Penn State coming off of 3 losses. They're getting a pretty good amount of points here in the spots. 11.5. They opened up 9.5-point dogs, though. That one looked a little short to me when it opened up.
Just a bit.
Kind of lean Penn State. Lean Penn State on the roads. What about Indiana State and Bradley? I've seen a lot of Bradleys in the chat. They're laying 8 points against Indiana State, who's not playing great ball right now. They've lost 4 of their last 5. And typically they do play really good against Bradley. The Sycamores do. They've beaten them 2 of the last 3 times, and the one time they lost was by 1 point. So they kind of have Bradley's number, but Bradley has not covered a game in a while, in a month and a half. And they're laying this big old number at home. I'd probably lean Bradley, laying 8.
Yeah, lean that way. Out of principle, though. Can't take it because the amount of times I've seen it on Twitter. Small school.
Popular play.
Very popular, which is, I mean, somewhat odd, but I'll salute Bradley Betters.
What do you think about your Frogs today? They're laying 4.5 points against Utah coming off that big win.
Dude, they have some weird voodoo magic at home. I really don't understand it. They get every bounce at home, which has been awesome. But I think they're still undefeated at home. They just got the big win against BYU, which I didn't feel confident about them going into that spot. But now, pretty big game for them because this is easily the most winnable game I think they have on the schedule for the remainder of it. So you got to get it. Utah's defense has been terrible over the past, I don't know, really the whole beginning of conference play. So I think it's their game to get. Minus 4.5 at home. I like the Frogs. Don't love them, but I like them.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that is some respect. I would lean the Frogs as well, fading the Utes coming in off that big win. Any thoughts on the ACC matchup? SMU laying 6.5 points on the road at Charlottesville against UVA. Would have never thought I'd see SMU laying that many points against UVA, but UVA might just suck.
It might just suck, honestly. But, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and take UVA because I think I'm better than that. I'm far beyond that,
Okay.
but
Good.
would
Good
not be
man.
surprised. Would not be
Good man.
surprised if they snuck in and made this a little weird.
Yep. You know what else I like that I want to circle back to is Loyola Chicago. This one's for Sister Jean. This one just simply needs more. It's for her. I think they get a big time win. They're up to -4, -4.5 some places as well. And we know the luck for Rhodey is going to run out here soon. They always kind of do this. They keel over and die about this point of the season. I think they lose this game and they lose big. I'll take Loyola Chicago for Sister Jean, laying those points on the spread at home.
Sure.
Give
I
me the
don't have a problem with
Ramblers.
that.
Yep. Any thoughts on Kansas, Iowa State? That's a great matchup tonight.
Yeah, it's a dogfight. It's a dogfight for sure. I don't know. I have my questions about Kansas in this game because I know they just put up one of the greatest, I think, defensive performances in a half that we've seen out of a Big 12 team, period, in that dogfight of a conference for quite some time, which was crazy. And Iowa State's coming off a pretty big win themselves in a game they had no business winning. So it's kind of two teams coming in relatively hot at the same time. But Iowa State's been damn good in the paint. I think that Hunter Dickinson's going to have a little bit of trouble, probably going to be in foul trouble too, like he always is. And if that's the case, Kansas is kind of pinholed with scoring with this team. So it's, I don't know if I want to get as far as laying it with Iowa State because I could very well see this end up within the number and they still win the game, but it's going to be a tough one, Krabs. Definitely want some defensive struggles, even though I guess more on the Kansas side after how well their defense played last game against Cincy.
This could be the Zeke Mayo game, like JJ Miles is saying in chat. I could so see that.
Yeah, probably has to be.
I could so see that. All right. Well, let's get to the squad ride, Jovan. Enough beating around the bush. Let's get to the most important part of the day. Let's cash back-to-back squad rides. You ready for it?
Sure.
Gucci, run that shit. I want to see that damn train. All right, gents. Great play yesterday. Great call in the poll. Voting for USC, the Trojans. They got it done last night. Let's ride that momentum into Wednesday night. Let's find a winner for tonight that we love. Jovan, I'm loving all three of my plays today. Pretty much all equally. I think they're all winners. But I'd say if I had to take 2 out of 3, I'd take Washington and UNLV.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that. Put them in.
They're going in. Boom. What about your plays?
I would say I like mine pretty equally too. I mean, I love the spot for the Lakers, Tennessee and Dayton. I think they kind of view the same. I didn't really get your lean between any of those. What do you think?
I really like the Lakers. I like Tennessee, and I respect you for Dayton. It's kind of where I put you there. And we got no Cam for you right now, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. You all right over there?
Yeah. What the?
You good?
Think I unplugged it.
That's okay. We can still hear your beautiful voice.
Yeah. Hold on.
Let's put the Lakers in here. That I know we're taking. All right. And I wouldn't mind putting Tennessee. There he is. Wouldn't mind putting Tennessee in there either. You want to get the Vols involved as well?
Yeah.
Minus 11.5. I'm in. Chat, 4 plays, 4 winners for today's squad ride poll. Please get involved. If you're watching on YouTube, that's great. That's fine. That's cool. But you got to make your way over to the Twitch chat and get involved so you can vote in the squad ride poll. Please get involved. Do not just sit there. If you watch on the side while you're doing work, that's great. We appreciate you. Thank you for the view. But you got to get involved in the poll as well. Do not just sit there, grab that damn iPad, grab that laptop, or grab that phone or device and click a goddamn button in that poll. All right, your favorite play you heard us talk about today. What's it going to be? Hurry up, go, go, go. 4 plays, 4 winners. Washington plus 7.5, UNLV plus 5.5, Tennessee minus 11.5, all CBB, and then the Lake Show minus 5.5. Looks like the Lakers are running away with it on the spreads. We got Rav in the chat saying he loves the Lakers. Let's fucking go, Rav. Let's cash tonight.
Rav.
We got Mogman in chat saying Lakers are a trap. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's not good. I hope not. Get those vets in chat. I cannot believe the disrespect for the first two plays, but I get it. The Lakers are looking pretty good, and Tennessee laying a lot of points as well at home. Krabs, you should only place parlays for a week. Beat Stewski, that's a terrible idea. Bless your heart, though. Bless your heart. That's a terrible idea, though. Okay? 4 plays, 4 winners chat. 3 CBBs, 1 NBA. We got the Lakers on the spreads. We got the one and only Casper coming in. Lakers just lost by 24 to the Spurs. Yep, that's why we love them. Good. 4 plays, 4 winners. Washington, UNLV, the Lakers, and Tennessee. Okay? Jovan, what are you voting for, my man?
I mean, I don't think it's going to make a difference at this point, but
No, it will not.
I definitely like Tennessee. But we're 20 behind on that.
Okay.
I'm very fine with the Lakers, though.
It's going to be the Lake Show tonight, folks. Chat wants to get involved in the association. They want to dabble with the professionals. I don't blame them. Lakers -5.5. We'll meet you guys at the cash counter. Do me a favor. All right, Trent is going on the Stephen A. Smith show, so stick around for that clip and the link to watch that. But he's going on the Stephen A. Smith show here to talk shit about the Josh Allen squares. He's going to start up the Surge stream right after, so stick around. It might not be right after this. In the next couple minutes, though, he's going to fire up the Surge stream. Okay? Jovan, great work today. We'll circle back with everybody after we catch the squad ride tonight. We'll meet up at the cash counter when the Lakers win by 6. All right?
All right.
Dubs. We'll catch you guys tomorrow, same time, same place.